Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before that, I went and I got some oak lumber from the local sawmill to build Rebecca's bookcase. So here's the stack of red oak. This is rough sawn lumber, and it's about 5 to 6 high, about 3 wide, and you're roughly looking at about 100 board feet of oak. And when I went there, honestly I was expecting to pay more. I think they're selling it at a fairly good price. I bought this entire stack of oak for just under $270. So I bought this at the local sawmill. It's not too far away from us, but it's in a town called West Union, Illinois, and it's a little sawmill called Forest Tech. So this red oak, rough sawn lumber that is kiln dried, they were selling this for about $2.60 a board foot. So if I end up needing some more, I can easily go back and get it, but I'm hoping this is enough for the bookcase project. So most of these boards are completely knot free. This one here is probably one of the worst, which is actually still pretty good. It's got a little bit of bark on this side. It's got one knot here in the middle, and then there's a little bit of bark right there. But other than that, this whole board is clear. And when you look at like a board like this, probably 10 inches wide, not a knot in it, not a knot in those. I think there's only 1 or 2 boards that even have a knot in them. So besides being a good price, I think they look like really good quality boards. There's not too many, there's only a couple knots here that we'll probably cut out and not use. So I don't think we're gonna get a ton of waste using these boards either. So some of these boards are actually going to be too wide for my planer, so they'll have to be cut down a little bit. Let's put it right here. Okay. Put it in the middle. So to mill this lumber down or surface this lumber and make it 3/4 inches thick, I'm gonna be using my Ryobi 10-inch planer. This thing does work a little bit slow. I plan on upgrading this later. So I got Rebecca out here. She's gonna help me run these boards through the planer. Are you ready to start on your bookcase finally?
I've been ready.
You've been ready? Yeah, so we went out the other day, we picked out some stain.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think once we get these planed down, we'll probably take a piece of lumber and we'll test the stain out and we'll see if we like the color.
I think I will.
Yeah. But these boards, running 100 board feet through this little planer, this is probably going to take us a couple hours, so we're going to get to it.
It's my least favorite thing.
Yeah, it's really loud. We about need to go grab some earmuffs too. Yeah, it's not real fun.
Mm-mm. Oh, it's smoking.
Oh. Well, I don't know if I caught it on camera, but it smoked it. I think there must be a little belt in here or something, but it is definitely, it locked up. We'll have to pull the board back out. I think we'll go ahead and open this planer up and just see if we can find the belt and see what it looks like. I wonder how long I've had this thing.
Probably as long as we've been together, 20-some years.
Yeah. Well, I knew I got it off of Will, so it was used. I think he bought it used. So this thing's probably
30 years old.
It's over 20. Definitely has that burnt rubber smell.
Yeah, like a blown tire.
Yeah, like a shredded tire. Yeah, it does. So here's the side of the planer, and here is the drive belt. But if you look at the belt is riding to the right-hand side, and I think that it's the side of it's gone. I think it's missing some of the belt here. This side's real thin. It's worn out. Oh yeah, see that? See the belt is thick there and thin there. It's probably melted when it got smoked in that spot right there. It's pretty thin. So this pulley here drives the knives. Look under here. You can see them spinning, and it spins freely. I can spin it with my fingers, so bearings are good. This is the motor. Motor seems fine. So it looks like we started the bookshelves and we quit pretty quickly. So I think we are delayed on this project. I've really considered buying another planer. I'm pretty sure I could fix this one. I could probably put new knives in it so it's got sharper knives and get a new belt. I'll have to look up some parts, but my plan all along was to get a bigger planer eventually. So maybe this is the time to do it. Hopefully you guys can see in the time lapse, this thing does not sit on the floor. If you just let it sit, it'll vibrate and move everywhere. But when you put a board through it, it actually doesn't want to push the board through on its own. So you have to pull the board through it to get it to move. And if you don't pull the board through it, it'll just make a big burn mark on the wood. So you have to pull it through. It's kind of a struggle. You see why we needed 2 people to try to hold the planer in place as we both tried to feed the board through. So this is definitely not ideal. I've had this since I was probably, I'm gonna say 22, 23 years old. I've had this planer, so I've had it for several years, and it was used when I got it. So those are all considerations I guess I need to take in on whether I just repair this or whether I end up buying a new one. So I think the bookshelves are done for now, so we'll just go ahead and we'll clean all our mess up. Well, we weren't even halfway done. Got a pretty good amount of sawdust here. We're gonna probably use this to help fill up the raised beds in the garden. Makes a good fire starter too for wood stoves. Need to go back. Oh. So since we can't plane down any more boards, we're going to go ahead and start putting the table saw together.
You're in the way.
Yeah, I am in the way. You just wrap it around me while you're at it.
So this is the guard.
This is the fence.
Oh, that's what it's called.
It's actually pretty light on my end.
Yeah. It is.
This is like the extension table. There ain't a
To open,
seam.
it says cut along the dotted line. There's instructions on the box.
Oh,
How to open it.
good thing I brought you along.
Because guys never read instructions. Oh,
Actually, I think the whole thing's
the
gonna
whole
lift
thing's
up.
gonna lift. Okay, you grab that side. I'll grab this side.
Yeah,
Well,
There we
that
go.
was a lot easier.
it was.
Top piece styrofoam that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. It's greasy.
All right, don't worry, that's not the surface. This is like an oil-filled paper to keep it from rusting. There you go. So I did end up buying a mobile base to put on this saw. I don't know if I'll move it around too much, but I definitely will make it easier to move. And now that we got it out, we found out that it actually has to go in the bottom of the table saw. We gotta lay it back down.
Yeah.
Here. Okay, ready? Oh, it's greasy.
Yeah, it's slippery.
All right. Okay. Just tilt it a little bit. Let me get my hand under it. Okay. Thing's heavy.
It is, and greasy.
Very top heavy. Well, it's on the rollers, see?
Yeah.
So it does move.
Simply step down on the large foot pedal to raise the saw off the floor and onto the wheels.
There's how you gotta hit both pedals to release it.
Oh. That's what it says. Oh, come on.
All right, we got the table saw all put together now, and Rebecca was a big help. I don't know how a person would have put this together by themselves, but what do you think it took us?
Probably 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, it took a long time. So it's already like, what, 2:30 in the afternoon? Mm-hmm. Like we've wasted our whole day putting this table saw together. So I think we'll just spin it around. We'll try to get it roughly in its right spot. Let's spin it around. Spin it. Where'd it go?
Here, it's under the saw.
So you guys may be surprised at how big this table saw is, and I had a hard time justifying this buy, really, in my head. So,
I insisted on it.
yeah, Rebecca talked me into it for a couple different reasons. So if you're not familiar with the SawStop table saws, they do have a safety feature in here, so if it senses that it's cutting into, you know, like a person's hand, it has like this sensing technology, it'll stop the blade. I think it drops the blade, and it'll keep, like, it'll minimize your injury if you end up getting your hand in a saw.
Which you have.
Which I have. When I was 18, I took off the whole side of my thumb in a table saw. I had a board kick back and pull my hand through the table saw.
And that's the saw you still have been using.
It is. It's the same saw. Over there, I had a dado blade set in there, so it was like, I don't know, 6 blades stacked up together to make a 3/4 inch wide blade to do a groove. And like most accidents, everything happened really quick. The board kicked back and just ran my hand right through the saw. And Rebecca thought that it would be best if I go ahead and upgrade to a table saw like this. Mm-hmm. And then the other reason is this is the saw that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So even if I don't use it too much in the next few years, as I get older and do more woodworking, it'll definitely get used for the next 20 or 30 years. So that's why I ended up kind of splurging and going with a pretty nice saw.
Yeah, and before we started doing all the farm stuff, you did a lot of woodworking. You used your table saw a lot.
I did, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I haven't done any of that, but I do plan on getting back into that, and that's why that we're paying for nicer tools. You're also probably wondering why I got a table saw that is so wide. Like, why do I need to cut something this wide? I probably don't. I originally thought I was going to get a saw about this big, and I decided to go with the wider saw because I plan on putting a router table on this far end, and I think the router table will be far enough to the side that the fence won't ever get over that far. So I'm just trying, I ended up, it was like only like an extra $100, I think, to get the longer table. And that's the reason why I did that, is because I do plan on buying a router table insert later on in the future. So even though we got the saw placed roughly where it's going to stay, I can't power it up and test it because I don't have 240 volts to this spot. When we poured this concrete floor, we actually put conduits in the concrete or under the concrete, and I need to pull some wiring from the wall over there over to this location, and then I'll mount an outlet a few inches up above the floor, and we can plug this in and test it, but that'll probably be a few days from now. But we got plenty of other stuff that we're gonna go do. It's a nice day outside. We got some stuff in the freeze dryer also. So let's move on to something else. All right, I got the new feed trough set out here in the pasture. A lot of people were asking about holes in the feed trough in the corners. And we have holes, you probably can't see it very well. We got holes in each one of these corners, but as I welded this together and painted it and everything, the holes got a little bit smaller. So if I need to, I can easily take like a die grinder and make those holes bigger if they end up plugging up, but it does have holes in all four corners for the water to drain out. So I know some people said the feed trough was very low, that the cattle would end up stepping in it, and that's true. And the reason I made it so low is really in case the sheep are in here with them, that they can both eat from this trough, or I can use it for cattle or sheep. That's why it's as low as it is. So the total cost for this project right here, I already had the paint, I already had the welding supplies, so it's really just the metal that I had to purchase, and it was just under $300 worth of metal to build this feed trough, and that's roughly the cost that it would to go buy a cheap one at the farm store. But this one is built about twice as heavy as one you would buy there. You boys wanting to check this out? I can put some feed in it for you. Try it out. £12, 3 ounces. So we started out feeding the steers where they each got 3 pounds of feed in the morning and 3 pounds in the evening. And now we are up to 4 pounds a piece twice a day. And we're gonna just keep slowly working that up. All right, boys, ready to try this out? Oh, there's a couple of chicken eggs. One egg in here. Almost lost it. Larry, you always want hand fed. Look out, girls. So out here, the steers have been eating on a silage bale, and I think I fed that about 6 days ago. So it's pretty much to the point where they don't want to eat it anymore. And there's not enough of them to eat a silage bale within 3 to 5 days. So I think I'm about to just start feeding them hay, because it'll definitely last longer out here. So I'll have to get a tractor. We're gonna try to clean all this up. Maybe at least clean this side up and get that cleaned off enough where I can bring out a hay bale for them. And I know I've mentioned it before, but that silage has it's got like a short lifespan. Once you open it up and break the seal, it's only, yeah, I mean, they'll only eat it for about 5 days, maybe 7, like nibble on it a little bit. So that's the bad part about it. That bale seems to be wet at the bottom. Pretty good luck with these bales, but this one's definitely got water in the bottom. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's the first one that's really had a broken seal, I guess. There's string way down in there. What the heck? There's some string there. Oh my goodness, what happened here? It's got string in the end. Oh man. Well, I've never had this happen before either. This is like a whole wad of string, and it was right here in the center. And it makes me wonder, I think there's a piece of string that got pulled in the entire time that we baled this bale, which ain't good. I don't want them accidentally eating it. The string just keeps coming. Yeah, all of that right there came from the inside, the center of that bale. Let me know if anybody's had that ever happen before. That's weird. I'm almost afraid to feed it to them. I wish I wouldn't have brought it in here now. I could like peel this off and feed it to the sheep, and if I could find strings as I do it and make sure none of them eat it. So now I'm gonna be worried that they're gonna accidentally eat one. Like that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. See, he's trying to eat that one right there. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna feed this to these steers just because there is string. I keep on looking, I keep on finding string that's wound all the way through this bale. So I can probably drop it over the side and I can go find them another one. I can feed this one out to the sheep. Yeah, like right here, you look underneath, And look, there's a whole nother set of strings in here. Can you see all this orange string? I think it's in every layer. That is not good. Well, so far this bale, at least it's not wet on the inside like the last one, and it doesn't seem to have the string problem. It's like a small hay bale right here. Hopefully it rides. Whew, there you go. So like I said, I've never had a bale where it just has the twine wrapped through it. From the very center, it appears that it is wrapped all the way through it, the entire bale. Now what I think happened is when it gets done with the bale, the twine arm comes around, it hits a mechanism, and a knife chops off the twine, cuts it off. So I think that something happened, the twine did not get cut off, so that twine was still going through the baler when we started the next bale, and I think that's what ended up happening here. But I am afraid that the animals, so I don't want them to eat that twine, okay? And that could really mess up their intestines or their stomach. So I'm just gonna peel this one off by hand and just go through it and feed all of the hay to the sheep, and I can kind of guarantee that I remedy this one bale doing it that way. But I'm sure that, you know, other people have had this happen before, but this is definitely the first time I've ever seen it. All right, we'll head back to the house now. All my chores are done, and we tried something new in the freeze dryer. I want to show you. So the other day, we normally shred our cheese. We get like a big block of cheese, and Rebecca, what is the cheese you buy?
Tillamook.
Yeah, and you shred that in our food processor, and while she's doing it, it makes such a huge amount. We're like, so why don't we go ahead and just freeze dry cheese and see how it does? So that's what we got here in the freeze dryer. So we're gonna get it out. We're gonna see if we can make like it's gonna be 100% cheese, but it's gonna be a powdered cheese. And she finally shredded this cheese.
Yep.
There it is. Light as a feather. I don't know if I trust that it's actually 100% dry, because it still feels cold to the touch. It shouldn't, like, if it's no water in it, it really won't feel cold.
Yeah, it still feels chilled.
Yeah, it still feels chilly. So I think what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and just put it back in the freeze dryer, and we'll finish this up in another video.
Yeah. So I added 12 more hours of dry time. So it's evening, so it'll go overnight, and we'll get it out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning. So it ought to be finished up at about 6:30 in the morning. So that didn't exactly work out the way I thought it was going to. I was hoping to get that cheese powdered, and then I was actually gonna make some popcorn back here in the popcorn maker, try to make some homemade cheese popcorn tonight. But what else could we use the cheese for?
You can make cheese sauce.
You can put it in like soup, add it into soup to give it a cheese flavor.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably lots of things we could do with it, so it'd be just something for us to experiment with.
It has a long shelf life. So
Yeah, I think it was like, it does have fat and stuff in it, so it's not as long as other things, but it was like, I think
I thought it was around 2 years.
I thought it said 5 years.
Maybe.
So we got the book from the homesteading family, the freeze dryer cookbook or whatever it is, and that's kind of what we're using as a guide. That in the Harvest Right, the app on Harvest Right, it has kind of the instructions on how to do things as well. So we didn't get very far on Rebecca's bookshelves today, did we?
No.
We started and then it ended about just as quick as we started. So
It's okay. I've been waiting over a year. I can wait a little longer.
yeah. So then we didn't get them planed down to the right size, so we didn't get to try out the stain either.
Yeah.
So we'll do that in another video. We bought a dark walnut stain, and we're curious how that will actually look when it's on oak.
So
It's
it'll be similar to
yeah, we want something similar to the cabinets that are here in the
yeah.
kitchen. At least that's what we're shooting for. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for today's video. Nothing went real smooth today. The hay bale and the planer, it's usually at least one thing breaks, but today we had two. Or two problems. But that's just how it goes. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.
Yep. Probably 2 problems because 2 of us were working today.
Is that what it
One
was?
for each of us.
One for, yeah, there we go. We're sharing the problems.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.